Well, soft jerkbaits or swim baits are excellent lures, but we often fall into the same old pattern on how we rig them. By rigging this lure differently or expanding how we're willing to rig these lures, we can just open up an entire new realm of possibilities as far as our presentation goes. Number one is rigging that soft jerkbait or swim bait on a Ned rig, a heavier Ned rig, especially a Lastech. When you do this, it presents a lure on a Ned rig that is very different than maybe what other people are doing. And you can go ahead and use your smaller, like a baby Z2 on the Ned rig and get that more finesse style, more minnow size. But don't be afraid to try a larger soft jerkbait on there as well. But the Elastech is key for me because I like that lure to stand up and kind of look like it's rooting around down there and feeding, and it's just something different that I like to use, especially when waters are very, very pressured. Number two is go ahead and rig that soft jerkbait or swim bait up on a traditional Texas rig with a worm weight. When we think about pitching around docks and pitching in the brush piles, we don't often think of that bait fish style lure. We get our creature baits and worms and craws, that type of stuff. But these lures do such a good job in those traditional Texas rig situations as well. When that worm weight slides down, okay, and there creates some distance, it can look like, a dying bait fish just falling right there. And bait fish, no matter where they are always great lure imitators. And the nice thing about it is then you can go ahead and swim it back to the boat or swim it back to you on the shoreline. Number three is to rig up that soft jerkbait or especially swim bait on a Tokyo rig. Man, this is such an excellent presentation to fish deep. It keeps the lure in the zone for a long, long time. If you haven't tried this one, it's definitely one that I think you need to put in your little bag of tricks, especially if you have some clearer water. Number four is use that soft jerkbait on a drop shot. You've heard me talk about the Baby Z2, my all-time favorite drop shot lure, but don't be afraid to go ahead and drop shot the full-size lures as well. 5-inch watermelon soft jerkbaits for me on Lake Champlain have been dynamite. They just imitate those perch so well. It feels weird putting a 5-inch plastic on that drop shot rig, but man, it's something that really can trigger the fish when they're keen in on that larger prey species. Next is a belly weight. This is excellent for your boot tail type swim baits. The belly weight just allows you to fish a little bit deeper. There's multiple versions on the marketplace. They've got the clip-on type weights like here, or they've got hooks that already have that weight molded around the shank. So if you haven't tried using swim baits with belly weights, it's a great way to fish at a depth that maybe you haven't been getting to. Next is your traditional round ball or your jig head. I love the exposed hook. Why? Because the hookup ratios go way up. Now clearly this is a situation where your cover isn't quite as thick or as intense. I like it in open water. I like it when I have rocky types of situations or sparse vegetation. But anytime you've got that exposed hook, the hookups, it's just so much easier. Apply pressure on a horizontal hook set, and that fish is probably coming to the boat. Number 7 is to go ahead and slip a treble on the shank of that traditional hook that you would use, like an EWG type of a hook. If you run across a situation where, man, you're just getting some short strikes and the fish aren't hooking up as well as you would like them to, this is something that a lot of anglers will do, and it can just make the difference between a fish that comes off and a fish that comes all the way to the boat. And the last one, of course, is one of my all-time favorites, especially fall fishing, and that is weightless. The weightless soft jerkbait is just a staple of bass fishing. Probably most of you have tried that out there. That's why I saved it for number 8. But if you haven't tried it, boy, it's such a versatile presentation. And hey, if you would like to watch a video that talks about something a little bit that you can add to the dead sticking part of that weightless presentation, go ahead and check this one out right here. And make sure that you go out and encourage somebody today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.